Hello Ashlings, welcome back to the Phoenix Nest. This time we're going over the crafting and economy system in Ashes. As you may or may not know, crafting in Ashes will be split into three pillars: gathering, processing, and crafting. These three pillars are known as the artisan class. This will essentially be a separate class altogether from your adventuring class, similar to Final Fantasy XIV's crafting system. Having spoken to Jeffrey Bard on the subject and gathered info from various live streams, we've been told that the crafting system's core mechanics closely resemble that of Star Wars Galaxies. SWG was known to have one of the most in-depth crafting systems of any MMO. Hearing this from multiple sources is really exciting news. Crafting in Ashesofcreation is meant to be far more reliant on other players and far more important than that of other MMOs. Crafters will have limited crafting skill points they can accrue and spend into mastering one of the three pillars, or spreading them out like a jack of all trades. You just won't be comparable to someone who invests all their points into a single pillar. This lack of self-sufficiency is actually what drives the crafting system to be far more player-driven than most other MMOs, in that one person isn't able to master everything unless they were to level multiple alts. You will be expected to go out and communicate with the members of your node and guild to make trades and investments in order to progress in these pillars. This heavy reliance on player interaction is what drives the game to have a realistic economy that will vary server to server, and the randomization and limits to resources and where they spawn helps to create a real living economy based around supply and demand. This also creates an incentive for bandits to raid caravans and gank gatherers. And because of that, it creates a need for gatherers to hire bodyguards for themselves even before they set up a caravan. If you ever wanted to feel like you're living in a real fantasy world, this is probably going to become one of the greats in terms of world immersion and real risk and consequence. This game really wants to force people into communicating with the players around them to help achieve goals. It's essentially another form of player quests Ashes offers. On a side note, there are also player quests given by node leaders. One of the interesting details I learned from when I went to PAX, and something I went over on my appearance on the Ashen Herald podcast, was a little bit how a weaponsmith may function. Talking to Jeff at PAX, he told me how crafting will take skill and knowledge of what materials change what skills and stats on a single item. The example I was given is that a swordsmith who makes 2 iron swords could have 2 completely different results based on what he put into the item. Similar to SWG, items you craft can be modified during the crafting stage by putting in higher quality processed resources or different resources altogether in order to change what ability the weapon itself has on it. This ability can be as different as one sword maybe having a fireball skill that launches out of the sword, or having another sword that creates a dark miasma that damages enemies near you over time. And these items would be equal quality, however only the master swordsmith was able to change these abilities during crafting using his expertise. And not only that, but each of these abilities also has a skill tree associated with that ability on the weapon itself. So builds will be even more complex based on if you had a master smith or an amateur smith. Lastly, as part of this realistic economy, players will be able to take part in a realistic stock exchange based around guilds and alliances on your server. So you'll be able to invest in guilds you believe will be able to defeat world bosses, take over guild castles, compete for world firsts, and many other achievements. This creates a living, breathing economy that allows players to play Ashes in whatever way they wish, and players may prosper or have hardship depending on the result of the choices they make. Well, that's most of what I wanted to talk about today. I hope you crafters out there are excited to become very important members of the virtual society of Vera. Recently, I've created a Patreon in order to eventually fund the future of my channel to increase its quality and my livelihood. If you are someone who enjoys my content and wants to support my channel, feel free to donate there. I will eventually have some really cool merch, and my major goal right now is to raise enough money to turn my Phoenix logo character into a plushie. And a long-term goal for me is to create animations on my channel, but animators are expensive, so that goal is pretty far off. Anyway, if you can or can't support me, don't worry, as I'll keep making content regardless, and once Ashes is out, I'll be doing far more in-depth looks on builds and other hardcore aspects of the game. Remember to like, subscribe, and if you're new to Ashes, hit that referral link and make an account. You'll get to play the Battle Royale mode when it opens up to all registered users, and you'll be supporting my channel at the same time by using my link. Look out for me streaming Alpha 1 as it progresses on my Twitch channel, Phoenix Zeke, and thanks for watching. This is ZekethePhoenix, and I'll see you when you return to the nest.